Hello, everybody. This is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're here with our 5-minute histories videos. The last one of week 6, and actually the last one will be downtown. We're going to go somewhere else next week. I want to say thank you again to my camera crew, my daughter Leah, and to my colleague Molly for making this happen. And again to all of you who have commented and sent in notes and stories and made donations. You're literally keeping us going. Thank you. I have one more favor to ask, and before you hit click and change the YouTube channel, bear with me for a second. Let me read a comment that came in from one of our listeners, watchers, I guess, a woman named Abby. She says, "I cannot thank you enough for these fascinating videos." Thank you, Abby. Although we're now living on the Mediterranean island of Malta and watching them from afar, it's all good to know. And well, that's incredible. Thank you. But that got me thinking. Baltimore, the last couple years, has suffered from kind of a bad rap. Lots of crime and grime references. Usually at the end of these tours, I say thank you to everybody who's come along, and then said, if you want to help Baltimore in another way, go into Spirits of Mount Vernon and buy a bottle of wine, or go to Trinacria and buy an Italian sandwich. So today I'm going to say thank you for helping Baltimore by engaging with us in these videos. But maybe if I could ask one more thing, how about sending this video to somebody who doesn't live in Baltimore? Maybe a neighbor who moved to Denver for a job but you keep in touch with. Maybe your sister who you grew up with here but she now lives in Santa Fe. And I don't know if that's going to change Baltimore's reputation overnight, but I, for one, will be really thinking happy thoughts to know that maybe there's a family in Atlanta that is sitting down to dinner talking about the Statuary in downtown Baltimore, or maybe a couple in Chicago who says, wow, they've got great Art Deco architecture just like we do. So think about it, and if you do forward it and you get a positive response, let us know. All right, downtown. Let's start with 10 Light Street, the building that's now wonderfully converted into apartments. A friend of mine, a local historian, Wayne Schaumburg, likes to say that you can tell how long somebody's been in Baltimore by what they call this building. It was built in 1929, just before the big stock market crash, for the Baltimore Trust Company. Then it was the Samuelson building, I believe is what it was. Then it was the Matheson building in the 1950s. Some of you may remember that. It was the first Baltimore radio television station, WMAR, broadcast from there. Then it was the Baltimore National Building. More recently, it was the Bank of America building, and today it's 10 White Street. So you can, if you call it by some name, we'll be able to date when you kind of came into your own in Baltimore. We can't go on the inside, but I just want to note there was wonderful artwork. When we can, I encourage you to go. There's a floor mosaic by an artist named Hildreth Mayer that's fantastic, and murals by a muralist named McGill Mackall that are fabulous as well. If you want to know some of McCaw's other works, when we could get in, go to the Lyric, and in the lobby there's one of his great artworks, the birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner. But we're on the outside. That's not so bad because the outside is fantastic. And in fact, we're going to take a look at the door and doorway on Fayette Street. And if you are out and about, go walk down there, 6 feet apart, but take a look at it. It's marvelous. There's symbolism everywhere, and especially neat for a bank. There's in the surrounding stone, there's a beehive. We want our bankers to be busy as bees. There's a sailing ship, Baltimore port to the world. We want our bankers to be engaged. On the great bronze doors, there's the scales of justice. I know I want my banker to be fair and honest. But by far the best symbol is the one on the lower right, and it is of a god, maybe it's Hephaestus, a god holding a little building and blowing back the flames. And this is a reference to the 1904 fire. There was a small bank building on the site before the current building that miraculously survived the fire. And this maybe was the owner's way of paying homage to that event, or maybe also to saying, hey, you know, the gods have our backs in this bank, it's okay to invest with us. Ironically, the little bank survived the fire, but it didn't survive demolition for this new big building. So from a preservation standpoint, it didn't have such a good outcome. But at least we got this wonderful Art Deco building. I will even dare to say that it is Baltimore's equivalent of the Empire State Building in New York. All right, we're going to go westward on Fayette Street for just a block, and we're going to stop at our second site, the Macht building. The Macht building was named for Ephraim Macht. He was from Lithuania, of Jewish. He came into a Jewish family. He was Jewish, And he immigrated to Baltimore in the 1870s and started the Macht real estate and banking business. He later became known as the king of the home builders. He built homes all along West Baltimore and East Baltimore. In East Baltimore, Hartford Road near Clifton Park, tons of houses there. West Baltimore, the neighborhood Ashburton, all along Edmondson Avenue, even out in Catonsville, Academy Heights, excuse me. So he built lots of houses. He was a philanthropist in his own right. He gave to many different causes, including Sinai Hospital, making it possible for poor people to get medical care. But he built this building in 1908. 3 years later, in 1911, there was an upsurge in anti-Semitism around the country, including in Baltimore, and he felt he had to change the name of the Macht Company. He felt that sounded too Jewish. So he looked around and he saw one of his real estate brokers was an Irishman named John Welsh, and he said, well, that sounds good, we'll change it to the Welsh Construction Companies. And that carried on and built hundreds, maybe thousands of houses in Baltimore. Want to take a look at the building itself. It has got fantastic lions at the top. We have more lions. But want to take a look especially at the nude statues. We don't have a lot of nude statues in Baltimore. If you go to pick any city in Italy, you're going to see tons of nudity in the marble there. We really don't have very many of those. But we do in the Macht building, and they're really exquisite. And what makes them even more sort of unusual, and I have to say, if you don't get a little bit of humor out of this, then check yourself in, because directly across the street from the Macht building is the Junker Hotel, built a little bit after the Macht building by a German immigrant named Frank Junker. And what did he put on his building, looking at the nude women across the street? Of course, he put nude men. So two of maybe Baltimore's very few examples of nude sculpture are literally topless men and topless women looking at each other. The topless men have the name Cora, I guess is how it's pronounced. I think if there are two of them, Corai, one of those crazy Greek diphthongs. But they are looking out across at the nude sculptures on the Macht building. Go down and take a look, and if I hope you smile like I do. All right, we're going to end our week there. Hope you have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.